Well, hello everybody and welcome to the streets of Detroit. It's time for warm-up here on FS1. We are now in the month of June. What an incredible month of racing action we have had, and it continues here. It's race day in Detroit. Will Power has made quite the headlines this weekend. Kyle Kirkwood has been rapid, but it's this man on the pole, Colton Herta. Once again, 2 years in a row he started from P1 after a mesmerizing show yesterday in qualifying. And as we welcome you to Detroit, Townsend, James, it has been quite the weekend of action.
Oh, Detroit never disappoints in terms of chaos. You know, a lot of racetracks might have one calamity corner, but this place has all 9. How about this? Kyle Kirkwood get absolutely snowplowed by Will Power during practice. They laugh about it later, but Will Power was, Old Crazy Eyes was giving us plenty to watch on Friday and Saturday.
And he wasn't the only one, guys. Low track grid, low temperatures and conditions were very difficult. We saw drivers left, right, and center going into runoffs. Lots of rear locking has been an issue. So for these drivers, this is going to be a big, important session and warm up here to get a sense of the tires, get a sense of the fuel numbers they're going to have to hit, and see if they can control these Indy cars with a full tank of fuel on this bumpy track.
Just 1.6 miles this bumpy track, just 9 corners, and yet overtaking possibilities are plenty as Will Power made a pass on Devlin DiFrancesco and just showed him a little bit of his elbows as he went by. Graham Rahal showing fantastically this weekend, but it is Colton Herta on the pole as the warm-up session begins. And we once again test not just our drivers, but also our sound operators this weekend as we sit down here on pit lane. Here are the drivers to watch this weekend. Who chose Malukas?
I did, simply because Malukas is on a roll. This guy, let's not forget, broke his wrist at the start of last season, and I think the healing is just starting to get to completion, which means Malukas is finding his groove at just the right time. Excellent at the Indy 500. Excellent again here on the streets of Detroit.
And Hinch, that means you chose Marcus Ericsson.
I sure did, and here's why. Andretti Global so good on the street circuits. His teammates are first and third. He just missed qualifying, getting into Q2, so he knows he's got pace in that car. I expect Colton and Kyle to stay up there, but I expect Marcus to be able to race his way up into the top 5 with his teammates.
There are very few certainties in life. Death, taxes, and Will Buxton picking Louis Foster as his driver to watch on a Sunday. I picked Louis. He won here in Indy Next last year. He's looked really quick all the way through this weekend, so I'm expecting big things from Louis.
And what's the name of his village in England?
Odium.
And what does that rhyme with?
Podium.
Podium.
Let's go!
That's a bold prediction, T-Val. I like it. I like it. You see, it's cool, guys. 51 degrees.
And listen, this is where so much of the difference is going to be made today. Like we talked about a minute ago, Detroit has chaos. These corners are so difficult, they're so bumpy, and they're so unforgiving, which means high chance of caution. We had 8 yellows last year. Yellows breed yellows. And did you just sneeze?
I did.
First time on live television. Yeah. Gesundheit.
Thank you.
And so pit lane is going to be busy today. Your race team can make a huge difference on pit lane. And let's not forget, that's the only place where pit lane is two-sided. It's a zipper. That shot we just had of the drone overhead of all 27 cars pulling away, the blend here is unlike anywhere else we go.
It is a track unlike anywhere else we go, Hinch. It's so challenging for the drivers, as we were saying, 1.6 miles, 9 corners, and yet, despite the tightness of the circuit, loads of overtaking opportunities.
Yeah, there really is. Obviously, the biggest one down into turn 3, down Jefferson. Huge run there. Cars get up to 180 miles an hour on the anchors, down to about 35 or less mid-corner and 3. We've seen a lot of passing opportunities there. You see it into 1, see it into 8 if you're feeling brave down the hill.
And that's why this outlap into turn 3 is so important on cold tires. It's a chance for the drivers to really practice the technique. I just talked to Will Power on the walk out to here to our couch, and I asked him, I said, are you messing with the brake bias much on the opening lap? He said, actually, there's so much you can do technique-wise with just how you apply the brakes to deal with the cold front tires. A guy that knows a lot about that around here is on pit lane. Hollywood, what do you got for us?
I'm actually out at turn 8 on the hospitality unit at Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan. Talking about pit lane, really interested in Detroit. It's a split one. Pit stop practice right now. You're getting to see some of the cars really dive in on the exit into pit lane. However, we actually did see Pato O'Ward go in this runoff. Turn 8 braking is an absolute nightmare. It's super bumpy, and when these tyres are cold, I think turn 8 could be a real problem corner. So it'll be interesting just to see how this shimmy and shakes out.
Thank you, Jack. Now, we've had a bit of a change to the track this year, guys. Not in terms of its layout, but in terms of where the important places are. So we're down here on pit lane. The checker flag will come out here for the drivers. The race start will occur as it did last year on the run down to 3, but the restart now is 8, 9, and so that run down to 1 will be all important on that restart. Let's take a look at the lap.
Well, just 1.64 miles is the track distance here at Detroit, the shortest road and street circuit of the season. And that long run down to turn 3, drivers are going to hit, I guess, about 185 with push to pass in the draft. They are smoking into turn 3. It's a super bumpy brake zone. It's actually turned out to be one of the greatest passing corners on our schedule.
And then you can switch back into 4 because you go from a left to a right. It's quite downhill through 5, quite uphill through that 6-7 chicane, and then all.
I think we might have just lost the last little bit of what you were saying, James. I think your microphone packed in.
It was really good.
It was the best stuff James has done all year. Yeah, we've lost James.
Well, hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. I don't know what I was saying. I was saying there's a lot of, only 9 corners, but probably 4 really good passing opportunities, so not bad.
So yeah, so the restart zone now is 8, 9. They will slow and go single file into 8, into 9. The restart line is just after 9, so they will hurtle down a shorter straight into 1, trying to get 2 cars through turn 1 side by side. Ain't gonna happen. So could be pretty exciting. We'll be back here on the streets of Detroit as we ride on board with Will Power, who's been looking not only racy, but a little bit sketchy this weekend too.
Louis Foster, you are the reigning Indy Next champion. You won here in Detroit last year. You're leading the rookie race right now. Pretty good start to the year for you.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of positive things to look at. The most difficult part for me right now is the race itself. Obviously, that's the thing that's most different. With pit stops, fuel saving, different compounds of tires, tire saving, etc. So that's definitely stuff we need to work on, but I think we're coming off a good momentum, especially from the 500 where we finished 12th. So I think things are looking up.
What is it about this place that suits you? What do you enjoy about the track? Just give us some extra insights.
Well, personally, I love street circuits. A, you're in a city which is a lot more vibrant. B, I love the closest to the walls. It doesn't allow for any errors. You know, you mess up your hill wall. It's a very bumpy track, probably the bumpiest we have on the calendar. Here, it's very difficult for the drivers. A lot of us go and see a chiropractor after the race.
I got to ask,
Mustache?
the mustache.
Yeah, there we go.
Mustache Man, you just told me that you had a section in Indy that shouted Mustache Man when you arrived on the stage, and it's giving Mansell vibes. I like it.
Yeah, I've been told that. I haven't been going for any particular person vibes. Bobby's given me some advice on how to
Maintain the
it and, you know, look after
Okay.
it. So there's a few bits and bobs there, but I think for now it's staying. One day I might wake up and just decide not to have it anymore, but for now it's staying.
Best of luck this weekend.
Our thanks to Hollywood and the new Nige, Louis Foster. Siegel, your fastest man out on track from Will Power, Renus VK. And guys, Will Power has been so much of the conversation this weekend. Some wild antics from him throughout practice. He's shown pace, but he's shown, on one hand, you could say aggression. On the other, you could say wanton abandon. And on the weekend where David Malukas has really risen to the fore, there's a lot of talk in the paddock that perhaps Will has received some news that maybe he might not be back next year. Maybe Malukas might be in that Penske seat, as suddenly Malukas just has this momentum behind him after finishing second at the 500, and Will driving, I mean, with a little bit of venom in his veins.
I asked Will Power that exact question.
Tell me.
About 20 minutes ago, just before this session started, we had a laugh about his Kirkwood moment on Friday. And then I said, listen, a lot of speculation is that you've already been told about your future. He said, absolutely not. I have no idea where things stand right now. Has nothing to do with it. I still think I got a chance to stay here, and I certainly have not been told that I don't. So I think Will Power very much driving race to race right now, but eyeing a longer-term future with Team Penske.
He's just having one of those weeks.
Look, it's the post-May hangover, guys. It's a real thing. We talk a lot about Alex Palou coming in here as the 500 winner and the extra media duties, all the commitments that he's had this week. It's tough for that driver to come to Detroit and perform well. But let's not forget, every single one of these drivers, every single one of these team members has been locked in the speedway for 3 weeks, working almost every single day, crazy hours, a lot of stress, a lot of pressure tied to that race, and everybody comes here just a little bit off their game. It's hard to keep it all together, and maybe Powers is feeling that a little bit.
Like I said, I woke up on Tuesday morning after the 500. I felt like I'd been hit around the head with a baseball bat, and all we did was 60 hours of television. I can't imagine what it is for the crews, for the drivers as well. And you know, for 26 of these guys, sorry, they're coming here after putting it all on the line and having absolute devastation and zero to show for it. You got one guy who just can't stop winning.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to be looking to knock Palou off of his perch. I like Andretti this weekend, though. Was watching Marcus Ericsson during the break. He looked super racy. We know Kirkwood's quick. Colton Herta's obviously starting on pole, but they seem to have a firm grasp on the balance on street circuits. They have for a long time, James, and they show up here. They look pretty dominant to me right now.
Well, look, Colton, you could argue, should have won St. Pete. Kirkwood did win Long Beach, so it really has been their type of racetrack. And one of the things that I'm looking at right now is just how slow it is. 102.6 right now. Qualifying was a minute 0.4. So these drivers really having to reclock all their braking points and references for these lap times.
There's no question Will Andretti has the handle on setup. What will happen on pit lane? That's the big question today.
And that's been the question for Colton Herta all year long. You got to say, Herta starts from pole, but Kirkwood was faster until he hit the wall. It's looking like an Andretti day. Very different proposition to Belle Isle, this street track, but a huge challenge, one that the drivers actually enjoy despite how treacherous it is and how bumpy it is. Just the versatility that you need as an IndyCar driver to go from road course at the Soncio Grand Prix to a super speedway at the Indianapolis 500, and then a week later to be here on the bumpy, tight constraints of this. I just walked side to side as we came here. It is 16 steps. Side to side on this couch is 7. So, like, it's 3 times what this couch, less than 3 times what this couch, 2.5 times what this couch is.
Well, I think if you think about the diversity of the schedule in IndyCar, there's really no other series in the world that is anywhere close to how broadly diverse you have to be as a driver to conquer the schedule. I think of horseback riding, right? It's like a combination of, I don't know, dressage or I'm getting in the deep end of the pool here. The long outdoor races with the jumping. It's got rodeo. It's got barrel racing. I mean, but it's horseback riding. You only do one of those things typically, not all of them. To be an IndyCar driver at the top level, you've got to master all of them in the same championship.
So it's rodeo, dressage, and the Kentucky Derby.
And barrel racing.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot to pin it. Of course, Kentucky Derby. Great. Let's go with that. What I find so cool about Detroit is when the drivers first showed up here 3 years ago, they were looking at this track like, dude, I don't know about this place. But as they've learned the rhythm and the percussion of the bumps here, it becomes normal. It becomes habit. You build a tolerance to it. Now every driver I talk to, they really like this place, and it's produced great racing through the years.
We go from a super speedway where it's fingertip feel, it's nuance, and it's really feeling your car, James, to a place here where you have to wrestle your car around every corner.
Yeah, I mean, Indy's like performing surgery. You got to have absolute precision, steady hands the whole way through. Here, it's like a boxing match. You watch the onboards, the driver's hands are just flailing all over the place, trying to keep these things going straight through the corners. But Johnson, even in the brake zones, I mean, down into 3, it is so bumpy. These things are bucking all around, and you're having to death grip the steering wheel on the brakes there just to keep the thing pointed straight.
It's bareback. It's bareback riding. I'm just going to tuck this down on the wind a little bit here. This place is gnarly. Let's face it. Drivers love it.
Riding on board with Colton Herta, currently 5th fastest. Felix Rosenqvist, quickest at the moment in warm-up. He's now 4th in the Drivers' Championship. Oh, it's getting tight out there. Harvey drove beautifully in the Indy 500, led the race, and now he's back on set, back in pit lane. Hello, mate. What have you learned other than the fact that Rail have got great hospitality?
Oh, well, I knew that already, in all fairness. I'll keep getting distracted by that graphic. I appreciate you guys doing that.
I think that's when's the Hollywood merch coming? Everyone wants it.
Why are you guys doing this to me every weekend? What did I learn? Overcut is going to be super powerful. Tire temp, trying to get their tires up into a working operating window is going to be really difficult for the guys. That's everyone on pit lane saying that. Spoke to Mike Shank. He said they want to do this race in as few stops as possible. That's if it goes all green. This place has had just an uncanny amount of yellows. And at what point, and James, you can talk about this, you talk about prep, strategy, this is what we want to do, and then it goes yellow, and suddenly that's all out the window.
Well, that's just it, right? And that's why you've got to be so diverse, you know, in the number of plans that you have. You've got to be adaptable. You got to think on the fly, because you can come up with a plan A, B, C, D, take your pick, and by lap 2, corner 4, all of those are out the window. So it is about making those split-second decisions. You know, we've spoken to strategists that say we try not to plan too far in advance, because IndyCar racing is so unpredictable. One yellow can throw all those plans for a loop, and you got to just be able to think on the fly.
Generally, I think you always have to start with the idea that, okay, what if it went green the whole time? Like, that is strategy A, and then you have to adapt on the fly. I mean, the chance, we had 8 yellows last year, but they have moved the restart zone. So you have to assume that there's fewer yellows based on relocating the restart zone. But if you don't have an amazing start, or you think you're struggling a bit for pace, you got to start gambling early, because it can pay off in a big way here.
And at what point are they going to get rid of the softs? If you start on the soft, and it's like St. Pete, you're going to want to get rid of those early doors. Can you do it if you pit lap 3, lap 4, maybe lap 2, and get rid of those softs? Can you make the distance then on 2 more stops?
Well, you can go almost 40 laps on fuel here, so I think that you go 40, that's 80, so that leaves 20 to finish. So that means you start on the softs. I think you pitch them at a wrap round 18 or 20 and get them out of the way early.
I think a lot of people in pit lane are hoping that they can get at least halfway through a normal fuel stint if it goes all green. Seems like it's not going to be quite as drastic of degradation as St. Pete. But I don't think anyone right now is looking at a full stint on the soft.
But the other thing is, if you're starting near the back of this grid, and we do have an early caution, and you start on the softs, you could dump in. You're not losing really any track position, and you could be kind of on the same strategy from there on out as everyone else, but not have to do a half stint on the soft. So there's a couple different plays here.
And I think it gets really interesting on your last stop. I think you gamble big time on the last stop and pit with 45 to go, put the hard tire on, and just hope and wait for things to fall your direction. Put everybody else in the danger zone and wait for chaos. Hope for chaos.
And also, how long is it going to take for the tires to come in? Talking to the drivers yesterday, I was joking with Marcus Ericsson, how long do you need on the soft? He's like, about 13 laps to get it in the window. Drivers coming out on cold tires, they are going to be susceptible to people who are out on track and already have a bit of temperature in those tires.
But look, at the end of the day, this is going to come down to a race of who makes the fewest mistakes. That's what we've seen so far on the street circuits, and that's what Alex Palou and the Chip Ganassi racing team's been so good at. You just saw him jump up into the top 5, top 6. Clearly his race car's okay. He won from 8th on the grid in St. Pete. Jack, do you think he's got a shot at this thing?
Absolutely. I mean, I hate to say it, and someone made this point earlier, the winner of this race might be someone that we don't mention until that very final spot. So to echo what you said, this is going to be a risk-reward day and just not getting caught up in everyone else's carnage.
I would love to be a fly on the wall for the Colton Hurd of the 26 Gainbridge team when they have their pre-race meeting as a team to talk about what they need to do on pit lane. How do they turn around what seems to be a 50-50 chance of things going wrong on pit lane this season? That, to me, is the most important thing up front today, is Andretti Autosport delivering on pit lane today for their drivers.
Some rudimentary changes happening down on the 15 car.
Stuck wheel nut.
That's the kind of mistake in pit lane that you just can't afford in the race, guys. This is what I'm talking about. That could happen to one of the quick cars. That could happen to an Andretti. That could happen to Malukas in the Foyt. It's just all about executing on every little thing.
Checkered flag is out. Times across the line will count. Rosenquist currently your fastest from Kirkwood. Dave Malukas, who's starting on the front row of the grid, 3rd. Callum Ilott jumps up to 4th, and Stingray Robb, who's starting down at the back of the field. in 5th. As you said, today's about keeping your nose clean. It's going to be about restarts, not getting caught up in the melee. Is this one just a lick your finger, stick it in the air, and it could be anyone? Or do you have somebody that you're looking for that you think can absolutely do the job today?
I mean, if we don't get much caution, advantage track position, the guys that are starting up front, it's that simple. I think what's fascinating about this is there's no sunshine really blasting right now. Nobody has any idea on the tires. It's too cold right now. So if the sun breaks and the cloud cover, this overcast haze pulls back, completely unknown for everybody going in to the softs, understanding how far they can go. I don't think anybody has any idea.
How about this? If you get one of those scenarios where you've done big stints and you've got a short stint at the end, but you're satisfied on tires, how about fuel only? These hards, they're not wearing very much, not a lot of degradation. Hot tires on an outlap, that'd be a huge advantage. Could be some cool, different things to play with. It's a very unique set of circumstances here.
Understand there was some contact on the checkered flag lap between Alexander Rossi and the number 30 of Devlin DiFrancesco.
Oh.
Looks like a little turn one, a Karen Chamagier.
It's not a carambolage unless it involves like 4 or more cars, mate. That's just a little
that
tap.
is.
Nobody does, Jack.
We're
Nobody
still trying
does.
to figure it out.
What's that?
It's a preview for the restarts.
We're going to see a lot of that today.
Yeah.
Adding greater effect.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rossi was probably just there trying to break offline to feel what it's going to be like on those restarts. You know how important it is, Jack, to try to break offline, feel what the bumps are like, and unfortunately, wrong place, wrong time for Dev.
Seeing taps down there at turn 1, we saw Stingray go straight into the barriers during practice. Do we have a risk of a block track at turn 1 on a restart?
Absolutely.
High chance.
Absolutely. I personally feel like they're more equipped to handle a restart carnage in turn 3 than turn 1, but obviously that's not the rules this year.
Yeah. No, at least it was wide down at turn 3. Turn 1 gives you absolutely no margin for error.
Get a great shot of the zipper that is pit lane here, and understand there might be some damage to Colton Herta's car. A little bit of a rub there, but team does a little work on the right front. That'll be easy to get tuned up before the race, left front there.
Well, there is your pole sitter, Colton Herta. Of course, he was on pole here last year, but it was the Ganassi show as Scott Dixon rose to victory. Ganassi have taken every victory on this layout of circuit. Alex Palou, year 1. Scott Dixon last year. Can they make it 3 for 3? Can Andretti swing back and once again prove to be the king of the streets? Kirkwood won in Long Beach. What can his teammate do today?
Let's just take a second to realize you have one of the coolest seats in the world right now. Front row at the 8500.
Guys, I just want to say huge thank you to everyone. This has been the best month of May I've ever had. Hi, Ben. You okay? Oh, sorry, Ben. It's okay. Don't stress about it.
Safe start is off. Start is on you.
Green, green, green.
It's 3 wide. Still there.
Go, 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 go. Got super loose there. Is everything good?
Did. Mike's on fire. Get the water on Mike.
I have no brakes at all. No brakes.
Brecky, stay low. On the bottom.
I got my hard ready going. We're showing one. I like our spot here, buddy. Go, 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 go. Restart it.
You guys ran us out of fuel.
Let's get it, bud. Go hard.
Eric Benson came out of the pits in the lead.
Here by 8. Outside clear.
Good job, man. Great job.
You just won the Indy 500, man. Awesome job. Yeah!